Minglawa, I'm Henry Zin. Welcome to MI Radio's Myanmar Today, where we bring you the latest news and reports from around Myanmar. Our first report is on shareholders likely to withdraw Yangon Urban Public Transportation Company shares. Another report on reinforcing Forest Department for maintenance. Next report on scarcity of labour for fisheries business. And lastly, a report on workplace safety fails affecting business growth. Now, before we get to the reports, why don't we have a look at what's happening in local news. Union Minister for Hotel and Tourism U Oman and Deputy Minister U Dinlet attended a coordination meeting for promotion of Myanmar tourism industry held at the Centre for Tourism Development in Yangon on Sunday. The Union Minister confirmed that Myanmar, as usual, will take part in the International Tourism Expos in the 2019 to 2020 financial year, while the ministry is working together with the private sectors to promote the non-smoke industry of the country. He also called for the discussions to ensure significant results from these events. A dry ration donation to 5,000 sanghas and nuns jointly organized by Kayin State Government, departments, town elders and donors was held at Pa'an Airfield on Saturday. Union Minister Thua Uwangko and Mon Ethnic Affairs Minister U Min Tingwin delivered speeches on religious matters. Amyoda Lodo Speaker Maung Wen Khaintan's wife, Donan Jinji, Union Minister Thua Uwangko and donors donated dry ration and donations to State Sangha Mahanayaka Sayados, 5,000 sanghas and nuns from townships in Kayin State. The Union Minister then attended a ceremony to hoist golden umbrella, vane and diamond butt onto Kaumudo Pagoda in the compound of Mya Chain Town Pagoda in Soto Village, Bilin Township of Mun State. Following the ceremony, the Union Minister inspected the construction of a cultural museum and fabrication of umbrellas for Jaundoya Pagodas in Magwe region of Pwinpyu Township. Union Minister for Transport and Communications U Tan Zemang looked into Yangon-Tanggu Railway Section upgrade, which is the phase 1 in developing Yangon-Mandalay rail network upgrading on Sunday. The Union Minister and officials inspected the completion of bridge construction between Swa and Gongji stations before meeting with the railway staff at Tanggu Station. At the Otwin Station, the Union Minister discussed the works with the staff members and local companies which are working with the foreign counterparts in the project. The Union Minister and party then arrived at Pew Creek Bridge 203 and inspected soil preparations under the bridge. They also looked into soil tests near the milepost 95/56 and inspected Bridge 83 and 79 between Pienbonji and Payaji stations, and a railway section near Tongji Station. Trade value between Myanmar and Germany in the last fiscal year reached $821.5 million, according to data of the Ministry of Commerce. Myanmar's export to Germany surpassed its import with $624.67 million worth of export and $196.86 million valued import, according to the statistics released by the Ministry of Commerce. Beyond regional trade regime, Myanmar has established trade links with EU members. Germany is the biggest trade partner in European Union, followed by the UK and France. That's all with the local news, and here's the first report on Myanmar Today. Shareholders with Yangon Urban Public Transportation Company flocked to YUPT office on Friday. They were there to cast a vote on whether they want to resell their shares and to re-elect new directors for the company. The Yangon Urban Public Transportation Company started its operation with 5.634 billion kyats investment. Now the capital investment volume has reached over 40 billion kyats. For more on the voices of shareholders on the reasons behind their urge to withdraw shares and to re-elect new directors, Akajo has the details.
It's learned that shareholders are likely to return controversial YUPT shares which failed to return profits so far. Shareholders with the Yangon Urban Public Transportation Company YUPT on Friday flocked to YUPT office. Over 280 shareholders were there to vote on whether they want to withdraw their shares and to re-elect new directors. The votes will be submitted to the government, and the government will find a way to manage this issue. This is the second time the directors' election is held. This comes after the first directors' election in early November, which caused debate and got hold. the company not being able to return any profit to the shareholders over the 3-year term leads to the outcry. For more on this, Wu Tong-u, leader of the shareholders, explains.
At the previous event, we shareholders demanded our shares be bought back, but that event was held. So this time we put up this event to re-elect the directors, so the 11 shareholders organized this event. So we hope this event will give us some result. After these years, with no profits return, we decided to take back our shares, but we are not withdrawing all our investment. We will leave some shares. We are just doing so to the extent where certain results come up. We want to bring the public transportation to a certain level, and the government is also helping us. The government even contributed 35 million kyats. We do not like the directors who are currently working with the company, and we are here to re-elect the directors on our own. And we are optimistic that the director we elect will make this work.
There are 5 directors nominated by shareholders and 289 shareholders are to vote. It is also noted that it takes 5 through 8 years to receive return on investment for a public transport business. Uma Mangluen, general manager of YUPT, also said,
If the number of buses will increase, the income will increase. Then, as the depreciation period is over, we will be managing dividend for the shareholders. That will be done in line with the Myanmar Companies Law 2017. The shareholders are now called in, so we will take a vote to find out how many shareholders want to withdraw. Then, we will submit the voting results to the government and figure out a way to solve this issue. This will take 3 days so that as many shareholders as possible can join in voting. There are about 290 shareholders.
There were about 5 million daily commutes made by estimated 2.5 million passengers, and YBS service is the main transportation mode for the daily commute in Yangon. The YUPT started its operation with 5.634 billion kyats investment. Now, the capital investment has reached over 40 billion kyats. The company has 940 buses for daily services. Efforts are underway to digitize the YBS service and the facility. Over 1,500 buses are prioritized to get the payment card system installed, and the system is expected to come into effect by the end of this year. So far, over 1,500 buses from 4 bus line companies have been tested, and the devices will be installed very soon. The YBS network is currently running with over 6,500 buses operated by 18 bus companies. This is Agajo reporting for Myanmar International Radio.
That's a report on shareholders likely to withdraw Yangon Urban Public Transportation Company shares. Alright, it's time now to check on the weather forecast in Myanmar. In Yangon, a pleasant weather and mostly sunny, but the air quality will be unhealthy for sensitive groups during the day. And of course, the night sky will be clear. The temperature throughout the day will be in the 30s, but of course, the entire day heat will give in to the temperature cooling off at night at about 21 degrees Celsius. Surprisingly, there's a 25% chance of rain for the day, with winds of up to 9 kilometers per hour. In Naypyidaw, nice weather with sunshine and patchy clouds during the day, and the sky is mainly clear at night. The temperature throughout the day will be in the 30s as well, but of course with the temperature cooling off at night at around 18 degrees Celsius, it's going to be cozily chilly. And quite surprisingly, there's also about 25% chance of rain for the day, with winds of up to 6 kilometers per hour. In Mandalay, nice weather with plenty of sunshine in the day, and there'll be clear skies at night. The temperature throughout the day will be in the 30s, but the cool-off in the night time with perhaps 18 degrees Celsius would compensate for the entire day's heat. There's pretty much no chance of rain for the day. Well, we have another report coming up, and then we'll check on the stocks and currency exchange rates. Myanmar is a country with one of the dense tropical rainforests and possesses one of the largest in Asia. However, due to several reasons, the amount of forest has been declining. Therefore, the government is now planning to preserve and improve the issue of deforestation, and Amyota Loto discussed this issue on Friday at its regular meeting. Williamson has more.
According to the Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations, there are about 31.77 million hectares of forest in Myanmar, an average of 372,000 hectares or 0.95% of forest has been lost annually between 1990 to 2010. The organization states that within the period of 20 years, more than 7 million hectares of the forest have been cleared in Myanmar. Myanmar is one of the top 10 countries in the world where the highest deforestations are happening, and its rank is 7. Therefore, planting trees and maintaining the green forest is very much essential in Myanmar, lest the consequences of climate change be far harsh to bear, as Myanmar is one of the most natural disaster-affected nations in the world. Therefore, Amyota Loto representatives at its second time 14 regular session on 29 of November discussed on proper training for the staff of forest departments with the help of World Bank, ADB, and World Wildlife Fund in its capacity, functions, ethics, and using the facilities and equipment. The proposal to urge the government in reinforcing the forest department with proper training and equipment for the maintenance of the forest was first proposed by Usa Kinzolin, Loto representative of Ayawari Region Constituency No. 2. Discussing at Loto meeting, Major Ted Lin, Tamro representatives discussed.
တတော်ပြုံးရခြင်းအဓိကအကြောင်းရင်းများအနေဖြင့်ရွှေပြောင်းတောင်ယာစိုက်ပျိုးခြင်းစိုက်ပျိုးမြေများချဲ့ထွင်လာခြင်းလောင်စာအတွက်ထင်းမီသွေးအသုံးပြုမှုများပြားခြင်း
Some of the main reasons for deforestation is our nation is slash and burn farming, increasing area of agriculture, the usage of charcoal for fuels, excessive production of timber, illegal logging, encroaching forestry area, road construction and expanding area of village and city, the construction of dams for agricultural purpose, and the burning of forest. However, we fail to stop deforestation in Myanmar. There is no long-term project for the government for maintenance, no proper procedures in timber protection. Due to limited human resources, the forest department staff are not able to monitor the forest properly. The production of the timber more than the number of trees annually also affects deforestation severely, which results in a decline of a number of some value trees and the value of the forest. Therefore, it is very important to carry out the work more carefully than ever, where we preserve the forest, meeting the need of the public, and the rule of law is put into action.
Dr. Nor Christun, further representative of Kayin State Constituency 7, also discussed.
တတော်တစ်ပင်ဆိုတာလူပါဝင်တတော်အားလုံးရဲ့အသက်ရှင်နေထိုင်မှုအမိပြုရတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်
Forest is where all the living beings are depending upon. It also contributes a lot to the national economic interests of a nation, at the same time keep the balance of nature. Few decades ago, our nation possessed one of the largest tropical rainforests among other ASEAN countries, with 70% of forest covering us, but now it has come down to just 43%. Every year, we lose 1.2% of the forest. The related ministry has its own project and plan to reduce the amount of deforestation, but till today, we have not seen any improvement but continuous decline of forestation. Therefore, we need to take the proposal of Usa Kinzolin seriously and act properly.
In response to the discussion, Dr. Ye Mian-sui, Deputy Minister for the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental Conservation, said that in order to preserve and maintain the forests, efforts to tackle the impacts of climate change and also keep the international commitments related to forestry, the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental Conservation has projected a 10-year plan in the fiscal years of 2017 and 2018. The government is also collaborating with international organizations, both government and non-governmental organizations, in tackling deforestation and keeping the forest green. From 2016 to 2019, a total of 31 projects have been carried out successfully, which includes development of human resources. Till October of 2019, total of 33 projects were in the midst of work, and it also includes both human resources development and research program. The government is also working on investment program for the development of Forest Department and Forestry with the collaboration of World Bank. In the end of discussion, Lotto approved the proposal of Uza Kenzalin. This is Williamson reporting for MI Radio.
That's a report on reinforcing Forest Department for maintenance. And here we have the information on currency rates from Myanmar Central Bank. $1 is at 1,508 kyats. 1 Chinese renminbi is at 214 kyats. 1 euro is at 1,660 kyats. 1 pound sterling is at 1,947 kyats. 1 Singapore dollar is at 1,104 kyats. 1 Malaysian ringgit is at 361 kyats. 1 Thai baht is at 49 kyats, and the Indian rupee is at 21 kyats. Gold is trading at $1,459. Silver is at $16, and Brent crude oil is at $56. On the Yangon Stock Exchange, FMI dropped 500 and it's at 11,500. MTSH went up 50 and it's at 3,900. MCB remains at 8,300. FPB is at 23,000. TMH remains at 2,850. You're with MI Radio's Myanmar Today. You can log on to our website at miradio.com.mm and catch many other great programs of MI Radio on the website. We're also running on 96.1 FM in Yangon, 96.5 in Manali, and 96.7 in Naypyidaw. Alternatively, you can download our app on both iOS and Android platforms. It's easy to search. Just type in Myanmar INTL Radio and you'll find the app. Download it on your devices so you can listen to our radio programs on the go. Stay with us as we bring you more reports on Myanmar Today. Fishing in the sea by the use of tiger raft has been one of the most productive fisheries businesses in Myanmar. However, due to a recent report about a university student who was forced into this sort of fishing work, tiger raft fishing has painted a bad image among the people. But, according to the report by some of the people who run such businesses there, these are some twists and misunderstandings about this business. Phya Phong Fisheries Association held a press conference on Saturday in Phya Phong regarding the issue. Williamson will give us the details.
Recently, a university student was rescued from tiger raft after 1 month of his missing and relentless search of his family members. He was working as a fisherman on tiger raft, which he said was forced into, and after he was rescued back by his family members, the news was one of the top trending topics on social media. There were also some reports saying that the fishery business is committing human trafficking by forceful agreement as fishermen. Therefore, Owen Jang, General Secretary of Myanmar Fisheries Federation, stated in last week that the news escalation of media about forceful labor in fisheries industry could give a bad image to fishery industry, which will result in a big loss for the fishery business in Myanmar. However, there are some twists and misunderstanding about all these reports of forceful labor and human trafficking in fishery business, according to some of the people who run this fishery business. Phya Phong is one of the only cities in Myanmar where the locals mainly depend on fishery business, and more than 60% of the people depend upon fishery business for their livelihood. Therefore, this is the place where almost all the fishery-related big businesses in Myanmar are based. Phya Phong Fisheries Association held a press conference on 30th of November at Online Du Hotel in Phya Phong. And speaking at the press conference, U Tan Chang, the chairman of the association, said the incident which happened to a university student occurred due to labor shortage and illegal expanding of fishery business. He said,
Due
to rapid expanding of the business, we are in need of the more labor, and the labor from local cannot meet the demand. This is why we try to reach out to other regions for labor recruitment. But the problem in recruiting labor is the brokers, who are also known as benefactors. These brokers are the one who sometimes use unwanted way to recruit the labor. Another problem in our fisheries business is Most of the people who get recruited are drug addicts, debtors, alcoholics, former prisoners, and sometimes even former soldiers. These laborers are not skilled laborers. And when an unskilled person works in this fishing boat, it is really hard for them. It will also take excessive time to finish up the work. Then the problem will arise among the labor, which mostly results in brawling, even to death.
According to the report, there are around 12,000 laborers working as fishermen, and the number of death tolls is quite huge every year. Last year, about 200 fishermen were reportedly dead due to several reasons, including health-related issues, accidents, and most commonly due to unsettled issues on the Tiger Reef. According to U Shui Po, an administrator of Dong Yang village, there is no such thing as forceful labor as reported in the news recently. But there are certainly some issues such as misunderstanding among the workers, which usually leads to a fight. At the same time, as it is mentioned earlier, there are certainly the issue of unskilled workers, shortage of labor, and uneducated workers, and business persons, which result in misusing of human resources and labor. U Shui Po said.
We had workshops on how to handle fishery-related issues with the collaboration of international organizations, and we already had an agreement to reform the policy about fishery business for better solution. But implementation of the agreement has been delayed for long. So policy-related issue is also the main reason why we have unwanted problem. The main reasonable department in solving issue like is Department of Fisheries, but this department is not able to solve the issue effectively.
Once a tiger reef leaves for fishing in the ocean, it usually takes 6 to 7 months. Therefore, the necessary provisions will be delivered twice in a month by their suppliers. And according to U Tan Chang, anything that goes wrong against the law will be punished according to the rule. This is Williamson reporting for MI Radio.
That's a report on scarcity of labor for fishery business. And here's the last report on workplace safety fails affecting business growth. An occupational safety expert commented that poor workplace safety standards and rules impede the potential influx of foreign investment into Myanmar as well as the profit of the business. This was said at the seminar titled Occupational Safety and Health Management System for SMEs at the UMFCCI on Saturday. For more on the benefits the practice will bring to businesses and the current status of OSH standards in Myanmar, Agajor has more.
Myanmar has been lacking proper sets of rules and laws on occupational safety and health management system. Law has been discussed in the law for over 6 years. Still, the law passage has not yet been done. Occupational safety expert commented that poor workplace safety standards and rules impede the potential influx of foreign investment into Myanmar as well as the profit of the business. This was said at the seminar titled Occupational Safety and Health Management System for SMEs at UMFCCI on Saturday. The expert U Nying explained more on the link between the workplace safety and foreign investment.
We know that's there, but it has not come into effect. This law alone will not work. We need bylaw and standards to enforce the law in practice. We don't have them yet, and that's a bit challenging. So as there is no proper law, we cannot take action when cases happen. So people don't take this seriously. Recently, 3 young men in their 20s died while walking down in the underground sewage. As we don't have proper set of laws and rules, we cannot take action against the employers and manage compensation for their debt.
Myanmar lacks data in accidents at workplace and other occupational safety data. For instance, accidents are common in mining industry, and most of the accidents in mines are left unrecorded. He commented that the lack of these data and sets of rules impede the foreign investment flooding into the country.
So as there is no law and rule, there are inconsistencies in practicing the workplace safety standard. For example, people who came back from Singapore utilized the rules from Singapore, while some Japanese sites use Japan's practice. Now with no law and rule on that yet, there are inconsistencies.
Despite the lack of data, he added that the number of accidents at workplace could reach as many as tens of thousands of cases.
In countries with firm set of law and rules and record like Singapore, the injuries at workplace in 1 year are recorded as many as 13,000 cases, including 66 to 68 deaths reported. So the number could be higher there in Myanmar. So the way employers here handle the cases is like they pay money to compensate for the death of the employees. But the thing is that they should figure out ways to prevent death and accidents at workplace. We need to find the source that leads to the accidents and how we manage to take action against the employer and the supervisor, and how we set rules and regulations so that same tragic accidents do not happen again.
There are many forms of workplace hazards, such as physical hazards, chemical hazards, ergonomic hazards, radiation hazards, psychological hazards, and biological hazards. He also explains the benefits of occupational safety and health management OSHM implementation will bring to business.
If we implement the OSHM, we can reduce the accidents. Then the cost to pay for the employees who suffer from accidents will be reduced. So it prevents death and reduces costs. And if the employees are aware of how employer care of their safety, their morale will also improve. It will also generate the positive public image of the business. And another one is this will improve the business efficiency, subsequently reducing the costs and increasing the profit. If the workplace safety and workers' health management is properly done, banks and investors will finance more.
The regulations will apply to both domestic and foreign companies, governmental organizations, and joint ventures. This is Agajo reporting for Myanmar International Radio.
And that's all the reports on Myanmar Today. Now let's carry on with international news. Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro has accused Hollywood actor Leonardo DiCaprio of giving money to set the Amazon on fire. The president gave no evidence, but in the past has accused NGOs critical of his policies of starting fires that ravaged the rainforest this year. Several arrests have been made amid controversial and unproven allegations fires were started to obtain funding. DiCaprio, who has pledged $5 million for the Amazon, denied Mr. Bolsonaro's claim. The latest comments appear to arise from the arrest of 4 volunteer firefighters from northern Pará state on allegations they started fires to generate NGO donations. Rights groups, NGOs, and critics claimed the police operation against them was politically motivated and an attempt to harass environmental groups. Fires that burned in August this year caused global concern for the lungs of the planet. In other news, Facebook has added a correction notice to a post that Singapore's government said contained false information. It is the first time Facebook has issued such a notice under the city-state's controversial fake news law. Singapore claimed the post by French news site Straits Times Review contained scurrilous accusations. The note issued by the social media giant said it is legally required to tell you that the Singapore government says this post has false information. Facebook's edition was embedded at the bottom of the original post, which was not altered. It was only visible to social media users in Singapore. The company, which has its Asia headquarters in the city-state, said it hoped assurances that the law would not impact on free expression will lead to a measured and transparent approach to implementation. A new breed of apple that took 2 decades to develop and allegedly lasts for up to a year in the fridge goes on sale in the US on Sunday. The apple, Cosmic Crisp, is a crossbreed of the Honeycrisp and Enterprise and was first cultivated by Washington State University in 1997. The launch of the firm, Crisp and Juicy Apple, cost $10 million. Farmers in the state of Washington are exclusively allowed to grow the fruit for the next decade. Kate Evans, who co-led the apple's breeding program at Washington State University, said the flesh is slow to brown and the fruit maintains excellent eating quality in refrigerated storage, easily for 10 to 12 months. More than 12 million Cosmic Crisp trees have been planted, and a strict licensing system does not permit farmers to grow the apples in other parts of the country. Well, that's going to wrap it up on today's Myanmar Today. Thank you for joining me, and you have a good day. I am Henry Zin. See you again.